Russian President Vladimir Putin has signed a decree to send what he's describing as peacekeeping troops into the separatist regions of Luhansk and Donetsk. The decision came after Putin recognized both regions as independent states and described Ukraine as an ancient Russian territory. Putin had made that announcement on state television, saying, "I think it's necessary to make a long-overdue decision to immediately recognize the independence and sovereignty of the Donetsk People's Republic and Luhansk People's Republic." The move of sending troops in the two regions mark a significant escalation amid fears Russia could soon launch a full-scale invasion of Ukraine. While Mr. Putin has stated that Ukraine becoming a NATO member is a security threat for Russia, there's a lot more to this which might compel him to make a decisive move. In this video, Defense Updates analyzes why Russian President Putin might order an invasion of Ukraine. Let's get into the details. This video is sponsored by War Thunder. If you are, like us, fascinated by military vehicles and technology, I recommend you give War Thunder a try. It's a military vehicle combat game which you can download and play for free on PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One with cross-platform support. It has a huge variety of more than 1,200 playable aircraft, tanks, helicopters, and ships from the 1930s to the 1990s, which you can take to battle on land, in the air, and at sea on more than 80 theaters of war. War Thunder's been kind enough to offer all Defense Updates viewers a special bonus, which will grant you a free premium tank, aircraft, or ship and 3 days of premium account time for registering using our link in the description below. So take the plunge and join more than 20 million players from around the world. World War I influenced the young Hitler, who was a frontline soldier from 1914 to 1918. Like most German people, he saw defeat as a national humiliation, which was aggravated by the harsh terms of the Treaty of Versailles at the conclusion of World War I. We all know how this shaped his decision-making. This is similar for Putin, too. Born in Leningrad in 1952, Putin came of age in the Soviet Union's golden years, the period after the USSR's miraculous triumph in World War II, the time of Sputnik, the hydrogen bomb, Laika the dog, and Yuri Gagarin. But everything deteriorated slowly, that culminated in the disintegration of the USSR. He is someone who was deeply affected by the collapse of the Soviet Union, and he has himself said that he considers it as a great mistake. Many experts believe that Putin wants to fix this and rebuild the Soviet Empire by slowly absorbing what he thinks are breakaway provinces. There is a will in him to restore back the glory days of being a superpower. Ukraine has extremely rich mineral resources in high concentrations and close proximity to each other. The country has abundant reserves of coal, iron ore, natural gas, etc. For example, it's in 7th place in the world in iron extraction, 8th in manganese extraction, 6th in titanium extraction, 2nd in gallium extraction, 8th in graphite extraction, 13th in power plant coal extraction, and 10th in uranium extraction. In this regard, viewers may note that sanctions imposed after Russia annexed Crimea in 2014 have hurt the Russian economy to a significant extent. Foreign direct investments have plunged by 50%. The ruble fell about 50% with respect to the dollar, and most importantly, disposable income of Russians plummeted by around 10%. It's not rocket science that physical control of Ukraine's resources will be extremely beneficial for the Russian economy. These resources will also give Russia a leverage over the world, especially the EU, just like its gas supply does. In November 2013, Ukraine saw massive protests. Viktor Yanukovych, who was president of Ukraine and openly pro-Moscow, rejected an EU deal and instead opted for a $15 billion bailout from Russia. Many Ukrainians saw through it and understood that Yanukovych was selling the country to Russia tacitly, and a protest broke out known as Euromaidan, literally Euro Square. The situation escalated after the violent dispersal of protesters on the 30th of November, leading to many more protesters joining. The protests led to the 2014 Ukrainian Revolution, known as the Revolution of Dignity. In February 2014, Yanukovych's government was toppled, the president fled to Russia, and Moscow lost its hold. It was clear that Ukrainians wanted to trade with the West and wanted to be integrated into Western institutions. This is totally different from the past when Ukraine and the U.S. were adversaries. Ukraine's relationship with the U.S. also improved under current President Vladimir Zelensky. Putin no longer has a remote control to manage Ukraine. The developments in Ukraine are a dangerous sign for President Putin at a personal level. He's a dictator. Not only does he rule Russia, but he has stakes in most of the larger Russian companies and profits from them. He wants to keep it that way, protecting his own position and power. If Ukrainians can remove high-handed and very corrupt Viktor Yanukovych, there's no reason why Russians can't do the same to Putin. There's pent-up anger in Russians against Putin, and things could go out of hand if democratic activism and emotions associated with those values propagate in the neighboring region. This is a red line for him. Putin would like to have these quashed by invading Ukraine. The United States has warned the United Nations it has credible information that Russia is getting a list together of Ukrainians to be killed or sent to camps following military occupation, according to a letter sent to the UN Human Rights Chief. The letter was first reported by the Washington Post and later confirmed by others, indicating his intentions.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more videos like this. Hit the like button if you find the video interesting, and kindly provide your feedback in the comment section. This will help us improve.